Most people spend their entire lives chasing money, yet never understand why it keeps running away from them. Billionaires understand something early that most people never stop to learn. Money is a reflection of mindset. Before wealth ever shows up in your bank account, it shows up in the way you think, the way you decide, and the way you move every single day. Financial freedom does not begin with income. It begins with clarity. Billionaires do not wake up asking how much money they can make today. They wake up asking how they can build something that lasts. They think in years, not days. They think in systems, not shortcuts. While most people trade time for money, billionaires design structures that allow money to work without constant effort. They understand that freedom comes from leverage, not exhaustion. Time is the most valuable asset in the world, yet it is the most abused. Billionaires guard their time fiercely. They do not waste hours on things that do not grow them. They limit distractions. They avoid unnecessary conversations. They protect their focus because they know attention is the gateway to wealth. What you focus on daily becomes your future. Silence is one of the most powerful tools billionaires use. They do not announce plans. They do not seek approval. They do not explain their moves. Silence keeps energy intact. Silence keeps vision clear. When you move quietly, you avoid doubt, jealousy, and unnecessary opinions. The less you explain, the more you build. Billionaires are emotionally disciplined. They do not panic when things slow down. They do not celebrate too early. They do not quit when discomfort appears. They understand that emotions destroy consistency, and consistency builds wealth. While others react, billionaires respond. While others rush, billionaires wait. Patience is not weakness. It is strategy. Financial freedom is not about luxury. It is about control. Control over your time. Control over your choices. Control over your life. True wealth means waking up without fear, without pressure, without being forced into decisions you hate. Billionaires design their lives first, then build money to support that design. Most people do the opposite and stay trapped. Billionaires think long-term even when it feels uncomfortable. They understand that small disciplined actions repeated daily create massive results over time. They do not chase quick wins. They build habits that compound. Knowledge compounds. Discipline compounds. Focus compounds. The future belongs to those who are willing to wait and work while others complain. Money follows identity. If you think like someone who consumes, money disappears. If you think like someone who builds, money grows. Billionaires invest in becoming better before trying to earn more. They read, they learn, they reflect, they improve. Who you become determines what you keep. Every decision you make either moves you closer to freedom or deeper into limitation. Billionaires are intentional. They choose growth over comfort, discipline over pleasure, purpose over noise. They understand that the mind must be trained before money can be trusted. If you want to think like a billionaire, stop chasing money and start mastering yourself. Control your thoughts, control your time, control your energy, build quietly, move patiently, stay focused even when no one is watching. Financial freedom is not luck, it is mindset repeated daily. And the moment you change the way you think is the moment your future begins to change. Most people never realize that wealth is built in isolation long before it is seen in public. Billionaires spend long periods away from noise, away from distraction, away from constant entertainment. They understand that solitude sharpens thinking. When the world is loud, clarity disappears. When the mind is quiet, ideas grow. This is why the richest minds often live the simplest routines. They remove chaos so they can think clearly. Billionaires do not fear being alone with their thoughts. They use that time to question their direction, refine their goals, and strengthen their discipline. While others escape boredom, billionaires sit with it until creativity appears. They know breakthroughs are born in stillness, not in constant movement. One of the greatest differences between the wealthy and the struggling is decision-making speed combined with patience. Billionaires make decisions quickly once clarity arrives, but they wait patiently for results. They do not rush outcomes, they trust process. They understand that forcing results creates weak foundations and weak foundations collapse. Money responds to confidence, but confidence is built through preparation. Billionaires prepare relentlessly. They study markets, they study people, they study patterns. They know that success leaves clues, and they collect those clues daily. They do not rely on motivation. They rely on systems. Motivation fades, systems endure. Fear is something billionaires acknowledge but never obey. Fear is information, not instruction. It signals growth, not danger. Instead of avoiding fear, they walk directly into it with discipline and awareness. Every level of wealth requires a new level of courage. Comfort zones are expensive, they cost people their future. Billionaires understand that most people are trapped by short-term pleasure. Comfort feels good now but steals tomorrow. Discipline feels difficult now but rewards forever. This is why billionaires choose delayed gratification. They say no when others say yes. They invest when others spend. They build when others rest. Energy management is more important than time management. Billionaires protect their energy by choosing who they allow into their space. Not everyone deserves access. Not every conversation is necessary. They understand that the wrong environment drains ambition. The right environment multiplies it. Wealth is attracted to order. Chaos repels it. Billionaires keep their routines simple and consistent. They wake up with purpose. They move with intention. They end their days with reflection. Every habit either strengthens or weakens the mind. There is no neutral action. Billionaires do not blame circumstances. They take responsibility even when things are unfair. Responsibility gives power. Blame removes it. The moment you accept full responsibility for your life is the moment you gain control over it. This mindset alone separates leaders from followers. Money grows where value is created. Billionaires focus on solving problems, not chasing profits. The bigger the problem you solve, the greater the reward. They do not ask how to get rich. They ask how to become useful at scale. Wealth is a byproduct of contribution. Silence remains their secret weapon. They let results speak. They let progress speak. They let success make the noise. Talking too much leaks energy. Explaining too much invites doubt. Silence protects momentum. If you want financial freedom, stop copying lifestyles and start copying thinking. Stop watching outcomes and start studying habits. Stop wishing and start building. Your mind is the gatekeeper of your future. Train it, discipline it, protect it. Because once you think like a billionaire, money is no longer the goal. Freedom is. And freedom belongs to those who are willing to master themselves first. Freedom begins the moment you stop reacting to the world and start directing your inner state. Billionaires understand that life is not something that happens to them. It is something they shape through intention, discipline, and awareness. They do not wake up asking what the day will bring. They wake up deciding who they will be, no matter what the day brings. They train their minds to stay steady in uncertainty. Markets change, people change, circumstances shift, but their mindset remains anchored. This emotional control allows them to think clearly when others panic. While most people react emotionally, billionaires respond strategically. They pause, they observe, they choose. They do not chase every opportunity. They wait for alignment. They know that saying yes to the wrong thing costs more than saying no to everything. Focus is their currency. Attention is their power. They guard it carefully. Billionaires build identity before income. They see themselves as builders, leaders, and problem solvers long before money appears. Identity shapes behavior, and behavior creates results. If you see yourself as disciplined, you act disciplined. If you see yourself as capable, you act with confidence. The outer world follows the inner image. They understand that growth is uncomfortable by nature. If it feels easy, it is probably familiar. If it feels difficult, it is probably necessary. They lean into resistance because resistance reveals weakness, and weakness reveals where growth must happen. Billionaires think in decades, not days. They sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term leverage. They are willing to look foolish early if it means becoming unstoppable later. They understand that mastery is invisible before it is obvious. They respect money but do not worship it. Money is a tool, not an identity. Obsession creates fear. Understanding creates flow. They learn how money moves, how value circulates, and how trust compounds. They play the long game. Comparison does not distract them. They measure progress against their own standards, not other people's timelines. Everyone is running a different race with different variables. Billionaires stay in their lane and refine their pace. They eliminate unnecessary decisions: what to wear, when to wake, how to structure their day. Simplicity saves mental energy. Mental energy is reserved for strategy, creativity, and execution. They know that confidence is built through keeping promises to themselves. Small promises, daily promises. When you do what you said you would do, self-trust grows. Self-trust becomes certainty. Certainty attracts opportunity. Billionaires listen more than they speak. They ask better questions. They observe patterns others miss. Silence gives them information. Noise steals it. They are not addicted to validation. Praise does not move them. Criticism does not break them. Their compass is internal. When approval no longer controls you, freedom begins. They treat failure as feedback, not identity. A failed attempt does not mean they are failures. It means data was collected. Adjustments are made. Momentum continues. They invest in skills that compound: thinking, communication, emotional regulation, leadership. These skills increase value in any environment. Money follows adaptability. They do not rush success because they understand that character must grow with income. Fast money without discipline creates destruction. Slow growth with strong character creates legacy. Billionaires do not wait for confidence. They act first. Action creates clarity. Clarity creates confidence. Confidence creates results. They respect time because time is life. Wasted time is wasted potential. They design days intentionally, knowing that ordinary days create extraordinary outcomes. They are calm under pressure because pressure is familiar. They have trained for it. They have prepared for it. Pressure is where they perform best. They understand that wealth is an internal state before it becomes external reality. If your mind is chaotic, your finances will reflect chaos. If your mind is disciplined, your finances will follow discipline. The path is not easy. It is not supposed to be. Easy paths create average lives. Difficult paths create rare ones. If you are listening to this now, understand this clearly. The difference between where you are and where you want to be is not luck. It is not talent. It is alignment between thought, action, and persistence. Every day you choose either comfort or growth. Every choice shapes your future. Think long-term, move quietly, build relentlessly. This is how billionaires are made. They understand that wealth is not created in moments of excitement, but in seasons of consistency. While others look for shortcuts, billionaires look for systems. Systems remove emotion. Systems create predictability. And predictability, repeated long enough, produces freedom. They simplify complex problems by breaking them into controllable actions. Instead of asking, "How do I become rich?" they ask, "What skill can I improve today?" Instead of dreaming about outcomes, they commit to processes. Outcomes are delayed rewards of disciplined processes. They are not driven by motivation. Motivation fades. They are driven by structure. Structure keeps them moving when motivation disappears. They do not rely on feelings. They rely on habits. Billionaires are comfortable being misunderstood. They know that clarity often comes after results, not before. They do not waste energy explaining their vision to people who are not walking the path. Silence protects momentum. They master delayed gratification. They can say no to pleasure now for freedom later. This single trait separates most people from lasting success. The ability to wait. The ability to endure boredom. The ability to stay focused when nothing exciting is happening. They build strong inner dialogue. They do not speak to themselves with doubt or insult. Their self-talk is calm, firm, and encouraging. They become their own mentor. When the world is uncertain, their inner voice remains steady. They understand leverage, not just financial leverage, but mental and time leverage. They learn once and apply many times. They build things that work while they rest. They create value that continues even when they step away. They read situations faster than people. They sense patterns. They notice shifts before they become obvious. This is not magic. It is awareness sharpened by experience and reflection. They do not confuse busyness with progress. Being busy can be an escape from doing the important work. Billionaires focus on the few actions that create the most impact. They cut distractions without guilt. They respect solitude. Solitude gives clarity. In silence, they hear their true thoughts. In quiet moments, Strategy forms. They are not afraid to be alone with their mind because they have trained it. They protect their environment. They choose what they consume mentally. Conversations, media, information, everything that enters the mind shapes perception. They filter carefully. They understand that discipline is not punishment. Discipline is self-respect in action. Every disciplined choice is a vote for the future version of themselves. They do not chase approval because approval has no compound interest. Skill does, knowledge does, character does. They invest where returns grow over time. They build emotional resilience. Loss does not destroy them. Delays do not discourage them. They expect obstacles. Obstacles are not signs to stop. They are signals to refine. They think in ownership, not consumption. Consumers spend. Owners build. Owners solve problems. Owners think about sustainability, not appearance. They accept responsibility fully. No excuses, no blame. Responsibility gives control. Control gives power. Power creates options. They know when to move fast and when to wait. Speed without direction leads nowhere. Patience with purpose creates precision. They do not fear competition because competition reveals standards. They learn from it. They adapt. They improve. They stay humble enough to learn and confident enough to act. Ego blocks growth. Fear blocks action. Balance unlocks progress. They understand that money flows toward value. If income is limited, value must expand. Skills, insight, leadership, contribution. These are sources of wealth. They do not attach identity to possessions. Status symbols do not define them. Freedom defines them. They see setbacks as training. Every difficulty builds mental muscle. Every challenge increases capacity. Nothing is wasted. They keep promises to themselves even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. Integrity compounds quietly. They know that clarity creates calm. Calm creates focus. Focus creates execution. Execution creates results. They are patient with results but impatient with effort. They show up daily. They do the work, they refine, they repeat. They do not seek overnight success because they understand that overnight success is built on years of invisible preparation. They know that thinking like a billionaire is not about money. It is about responsibility, discipline, clarity, and long-term vision. Financial freedom begins the moment you stop waiting for permission and start taking ownership of your mind. Every thought you allow becomes a direction. Every habit you repeat becomes a future. This is not motivation. This is alignment. And alignment, sustained long enough, changes everything. They understand that true power is internal alignment. When thoughts, emotions, and actions move in the same direction, momentum becomes unstoppable. Most people live fragmented lives. Billionaires live integrated ones. Their inner world supports their outer goals. They do not wait for perfect conditions. Perfect conditions never arrive. They build in imperfect environments and adjust as they move. Progress favors those who begin before they feel ready. They remove chaos from their daily lives because chaos drains clarity. They simplify schedules, commitments, and environments. Simplicity creates speed. Speed creates advantage. They understand that consistency beats intensity every time. One focused hour every day outperforms occasional bursts of extreme effort. They show up even when the day feels ordinary, because ordinary days build extraordinary futures. They master self-regulation. When emotions rise, they slow down. When stress appears, they breathe and think. Control of self always comes before control of outcomes. They do not talk about goals excessively. Talking releases emotional reward without effort. They prefer quiet execution. Results speak louder than intention. They understand that discipline is a form of freedom. The more disciplined the mind, the fewer regrets follow. Regret is expensive. Discipline is profitable. They invest in clarity before action. Rushed action without clarity wastes energy. Clear direction makes effort efficient. They develop the ability to wait without anxiety. Waiting is not weakness. Waiting with preparation is strength. They move when timing aligns, not when pressure demands it. They do not fear being different. Conformity creates safety, not success. Progress requires deviation from the average path. They know that habits create identity, and identity creates destiny. Change the habit, and the future changes quietly behind the scenes. They build mental endurance. When things feel slow, they do not quit. When results